The SYED SADDIQ case, from conviction to complete acquittal. A comprehensive backgrounder on Malaysia's most closely watched political prosecution by AZLAN, MA, Monday, 13 July 2026. The federal court today brought to an end one of Malaysia's most politically significant criminal prosecutions, dismissing the prosecution's final appeal against Muar Member of Parliament SYED SADDIQ Syed Abdul Rahman's acquittal by a majority of 2-1. The ruling finally closes a legal battle that has stretched over 5 years and means that SYED SADDIQ is now fully acquitted of all 4 criminal charges brought against him. There is no further avenue of appeal. The split decision is noteworthy. Federal court judges Datuk Che Mohammed Ruzima Ghazali and Datuk Colin Lawrence Sequeira formed the majority, while Court of Appeal President Datuk Seri Abu Bakar Jais dissented. Although the written grounds of judgment have yet to be released, the majority decision is the judgment of the court and is legally binding. The 4 charges. The prosecution arose from events following the collapse of the Pakatan Harapan government during the Sheraton move in early 2020. SYED SADDIQ faced 4 criminal charges involving funds belonging to Armada, the youth wing of Parti Pribumi Bersatu Malaysia, Bersatu. The charges were: 1 charge of abetment of criminal breach of trust involving 1 million ringgits withdrawn from Armada's bank account, 1 charge of dishonest misappropriation involving 120,000 ringgits allegedly transferred into his personal account, 2 charges of money laundering relating to the 120,000 ringgits. All 4 charges were heard together. The High Court conviction on 9 November 2023, the High Court convicted SYED SADDIQ on all 4 charges. He was sentenced to 7 years imprisonment, 2 strokes of the cane, a 10 million ringgit fine. The conviction represented a dramatic fall for Malaysia's youngest ever federal minister and immediately raised questions about his political future, although he remained free on bail pending appeal. The Court of Appeal reversal. On 25 June 2025, a unanimous 3-member Court of Appeal overturned the High Court judgment. The appellate court held that the prosecution had failed to prove the essential elements of the offenses beyond reasonable doubt and set aside both the convictions and sentences. Importantly, the Court of Appeal did not merely reduce the sentence or order a retrial. It acquitted and discharged SYED SADDIQ on all 4 charges. The prosecution's final appeal. The Attorney General's chambers immediately exercised its right to appeal to the federal court, Malaysia's highest judicial body. The appeal was heard in December 2025 before a 3-member panel comprising Court of Appeal President Datuk Seri Abu Bakar Jais, Federal Court Judge Datuk Che Mohammed Ruzima Ghazali, Federal Court Judge Datuk Colin Lawrence Sequeira. Judgment was initially scheduled for 30 June 2026, but was postponed after Justice Che Mohammed Ruzima Ghazali went on medical leave. The final federal court decision on 13 July 2026, the federal court dismissed the prosecution's appeal by a 2-1 majority. The majority held that the Court of Appeal had not erred in acquitting SYED SADDIQ. As a consequence, the High Court conviction remains permanently set aside. All 4 criminal charges end in acquittal. The prison sentence, caning, and 10 million ringgits fine cease to have any legal effect. There is no further appeal available because the federal court is Malaysia's apex court. Why the split decision matters. Although the outcome is final, the dissent is significant because split decisions at the apex court indicate genuine judicial disagreement on questions of law or evidence. The written judgments, once released, will be closely studied by lawyers and constitutional scholars because they will explain precisely why 2 judges found the acquittal legally correct while 1 judge believed otherwise. The dissent itself has no legal effect beyond becoming part of Malaysia's judicial record. The Abu Bakar Jais dimension. The dissent has inevitably attracted attention because it came from Court of Appeal President Datuk Seri Abu Bakar Jais. In 2024, Abu Bakar Jais attracted national attention for delivering a judgment emphasizing that the Sharia courts should not be regarded as inferior to the civil courts within their respective constitutional jurisdictions. That judgment generated extensive legal and political debate regarding the relationship between Malaysia's dual court system. He was subsequently elevated to the office of President of the Court of Appeal in 2025 during the administration of Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Some political observers are likely to draw connections between today's dissent and his earlier judicial philosophy. However, at present, there is no evidence that today's dissent arose from ideological or political considerations. Until the written grounds are published, any attempt to attribute motives would be speculative rather than evidentially supported. Political implications. The federal court's decision removes the final legal obstacle hanging over SYED SADDIQ's political career. For more than 5 years, the criminal proceedings cast uncertainty over his future and his eligibility for elected office. Today's judgment conclusively restores his legal standing. Politically, the ruling is likely to strengthen SYED SADDIQ's position as an opposition figure and may enhance his credibility among supporters who have long argued that the prosecution was politically motivated. Equally, critics may continue to dispute that interpretation. What can now be stated with certainty is that Malaysia's highest court has determined that the prosecution failed to overturn the Court of Appeal's acquittal. In legal terms, the matter is over. In political terms, its consequences are only beginning. The author has placed this work in the public domain. It may be freely imported, exported, shared, distributed, edited, modified, or reformatted without explicit consent from the author. As a visually impaired person, the author asserts his rights under the Marrakesh Treaty to facilitate access to published works for persons who are blind, visually impaired, or otherwise print disabled. 2013, WIPO.INT.
Early bird registration for my September 5th event is valid until July 31st for a minimum donation of 150 ringgit. Made before July 31st, you can attend my September 5th event. All proceeds for all your donations will be used not just for your meal for the day, but also for my various eye treatments and sponsoring some persons with disability to attend the event. From July onwards, it will be 150 ringgit until the end of July. Then in August, it will go up to 200 ringgit. Thank you.
How to attend AZLAN ADNAN's Meet the Author Luncheon at the Hungry Tapir, 135 Petaling Street, Kuala Lumpur. Short walking distance from the Pasar Seni MRT LRT station. From 12:30 hours, Saturday, 5th September 2026.
Step 1. Download all my 30+ books on nutrition for free from Zed Library using this URL. However, there is a limit of 10 downloads a day from Zed Library. The workaround is to download them, and 2,250+ others, from my Optimal Health Community Telegram broadcast channel at EPUB Electronic Publishing. All my free ebooks are published in .EPUB electronic publishing format. If you are still living in the dark ages and only know .PDF, portable document format, and never heard of .EPUB, don't worry. You are about to have a mind-blowing experiential learning journey. If you use an Apple device, .EPUB files open in the Books app. If you are an Android user, use Universal Book Reader or a similar app. If you need further instructions on how to read .EPUB documents, just ask your favorite AI app to teach you. If you have never used an AI app before, start with Grok, Gemini, or ChatGPT. Then move on to DeepSeek, Claude, or Kling later.
Step 2. I have put all my books in the public domain, and you may share them freely. In fact, I strongly implore you to do so. Viralize them, make sure they reach every person who needs the knowledge contained in them. In Malaysia, the most recent data from the National Health and Morbidity Survey 2023 shows that 21.8% of adults are obese and 32.6% are overweight. This means the total combined rate is 54.4% of adults. Scary huge percentages of Malaysians are diabetic or suffer from other non-communicable diseases, NCDs. To be specific, in Malaysia, about 15.5% of adults have chronic kidney disease, CKD, up from 9.1% in 2011. Around 21.4% of adults aged 30 and above are at high risk of cardiovascular disease, CVD. Among older adults, about 8.5% have dementia, equating to roughly 260,000 people as of 2022. A nation is only as strong as its human capital. How strong can a nation be if more than half its population is fat, sick, and nearly dead? Of what good can you be to your family if you are fat, sick, and nearly dead? You owe it to yourself to be the best version of yourself that you can possibly be.
Step 3. Read the books. Follow whatever advice that makes sense to you. If something doesn't make sense to you, or causes cognitive dissonance, you can ask me clarifying questions on the 5th of September. Also, be prepared to report on the 5th of September what improvements in your health you have noticed. So far, one person has seen her total cholesterol level drop from always above 5 to 4.6. Another has resolved a chronic constipation issue. I have written 2 books on human stool classification and stool analysis. Another person who wakes up every morning with a white layer of mucus on her tongue for more than half her life now wakes up with a clear tongue. Step 4. Make the minimum donation by the required dates. The longer you prevaricate, the higher the minimum donation gets. Minimum donation per pax: 100 ringgit for donations received by June 30th, 150 ringgit for donations received by July 31st, 200 ringgit for donations received by August 31st, 500 ringgit for donations received by the 5th of September and for walk-ins. Places are limited. However, I do not wish to deprive anyone. If enough people register, we can take over the whole restaurant, so make your donations early to reserve your place. Purpose: your donations will go towards sponsoring persons with disability, PWD, to attend the event and also towards my various ongoing eye treatments. Sponsorship: if you run a business and wish to promote your business, you can sponsor door gifts, gift vouchers, or even cash.
A writer and researcher in nutrition science, AZLAN has authored dozens of books on plant-based bioactives, antioxidants, and the chemistry of whole foods. In this session, he will lead a dynamic Ask Me Anything on Nutrition session. All 30 of his nutrition books are in the public domain and are downloadable at the link below. Attendees must read these books in advance and come prepared with their questions. This is a singular chance to engage with one of today's leading independent nutrition thinkers. Don't miss it. A healthy, whole food, plant-based lunch with the menu curated by ADNAN will be served. No need to write your name in the reference of the bank transfer, as it will automatically be displayed, but include your phone number in case we need to contact you for any last-minute changes.
We will also celebrate AZLAN's 68th birthday.
Some of you have been wondering why a YouTube channel devoted to green political philosophy and ideology would address health issues. The stark facts are these. Data from the National Health and Morbidity Survey in Malaysia 2023 shows that 54.4% of adults are either overweight or obese, with 32.6% classified as overweight and 21.8% as obese. Abdominal obesity, per Roy, was also reported at 54.5%. Compared to 2011, the combined prevalence of overweight and obesity has increased from 44.5% to 54.4%. According to the same survey, 15.6% of adults in Malaysia have been diagnosed with diabetes, kencing manis. Additionally, about 21.4% of Malaysian adults aged 30 and above have a high 10-year calculated risk of developing cardiovascular disease, CVD, sakit jantung. In Malaysia, precise prevalence data for diagnosed CVD is somewhat limited. Data from 2010 to 2021 indicated that 16.6% of all registered deaths were due to CVD. A 2015 survey found that 14.1% of working-age adults had diabetes, 24.5% had hypertension, and 45.9% had high cholesterol. The World Heart Federation also noted in 2022 that around 11% of deaths in Malaysia are linked to CVD. In 2011, the prevalence of chronic kidney disease, CKD, sakit buah pinggang, was 9.07%. A nationwide study in Malaysia in 2018 estimated that 15.48% of adults, over 5 million people, have CKD. It really is alarming. These numbers are striking, especially when you consider how rapidly they have grown over just a decade. It is a massive public health challenge. In light of these statistics, the implications for nation building and capacity building are stark. What value does a nation have if more than half its population are fat, sick, and nearly dead?
Are you fat, sick, and nearly dead? Well, if you think you're overwhelmed, you don't know where to start with this book. And then as you progress, you can, go deeper, take a deep dive into the other books. And if you want to meet me to discuss what you've read in the books, you have a chance in September to do so. However, there are 5 places already been taken up, and there are limited seats, so the sooner you register, the sooner you'll reserve a place for yourself. Attendance is by donation, so details are in the video.
Important note on event registration fees. Early bird. Donation received between the 1st and the 31st of July 2026. Minimum donation of 150 ringgits. Normal registration. Donation received between the 1st and the 31st of August 2026. Minimum donation of 200 ringgits. Late registration. Donation received between 1st to 5th September 2026. Minimum donation of 500 ringgits. All proceeds after deducting third-party costs will go towards AZLAN ADNAN's various ongoing eye treatments to hopefully reverse or at least arrest his macular degeneration, cataracts, photophobia, mydriasis, dry eyes, and etc. This is mission critical as, if his vision fails, he'll no longer be able to produce, edit, or upload videos. Your voluntary contributions and donations are a critical success factor. As such, your generosity, empathy, compassion, and kindness are well and truly appreciated. We thank you in advance for your invaluable help and assistance in making this event a resounding success.
About the author. AZLAN ADNAN, M.A., is a writer and independent researcher whose work focuses on nutrition science, food systems, and the biological foundations of human health. His writing examines how natural foods contain complex compounds that interact with human physiology in ways that may support long-term well-being. He has a particular interest in plant-based bioactive compounds such as polyphenols, carotenoids, flavonoids, and other phytochemicals found in fruits, vegetables, herbs, spices, algae, and fungi. His research explores how these compounds function in plants and how they may influence human nutrition when consumed as part of a balanced diet. AZLAN approaches nutrition from a multidisciplinary perspective, drawing on biochemistry, plant biology, and public health nutrition. His work aims to translate complex scientific concepts into clear explanations so that readers can better understand the nutritional value of everyday foods. He is the author of several books examining natural sources of antioxidants and other dietary compounds. Author of the Antioxidant series, Antioxidants in Herbs and Spices, Antioxidants in Algae, Microalgae, and Fungi, Antioxidants in Fruits and Vegetables, Antioxidants in Nuts and Seeds, Antioxidants in Berries. Author of the Nutrient series, Macronutrients, Volume 1, Carbohydrates, Macronutrients, Volume 2, Lipids, Macronutrients, Volume 3, Proteins, Micronutrients, Vitamins, Trace Elements, and Minerals, Anti-nutrients, the hidden blockers in your food, Phytonutrients, the quiet power of plants, Water, the forgotten fourth, a macronutrient you can't ignore, Other books on health and nutrition. Transcript's briefing paper, 2nd edition. AZLAN's 5-Powder Manifesto. Eating the Greek Way, How Cultural Habits Support Health Without Trying. Ideology on a Plate, How Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Turned U.S. Dietary Guidelines into a Scientific Farce. Maslow in 2026, A Practical Guide to Actual Needs, Not Scrollable Wishes. These works form part of an ongoing series exploring the chemistry, biological roles, and nutritional significance of bioactive compounds in plant foods. Through his writing, AZLAN advocates a practical food-first approach to nutrition. His work emphasizes whole foods, dietary diversity, and balanced eating patterns, rather than reliance on isolated nutrients or supplements. He holds a Master of Arts in International Business and Management from the University of Westminster in London, and writes extensively on nutrition science, health, and food-based approaches to long-term well-being. AZLAN ADNAN, the quiet revolutionary of real food writing. AZLAN ADNAN, M.A., is a Malaysian polymath who spent decades turning food into philosophy. Raw, unfiltered, no hype. You won't find him pushing superfoods or miracle diets. He dissects what actually works. Whole plants, spices, microbes, and the quiet chemistry that keeps bodies humming. With over 30 books, self-published, shared freely on Z Library, Facebook groups, Telegram channels, AZLAN's output is prolific. Part manifesto, part manual. Early works like Spring Has Sprung, a psychological thriller, and travelogues on the road to the East Coast reveal his roots in journalism, advertising, and storytelling. But nutrition became his mission. Educated with a Master of Arts in International Business and Management from the University of Westminster, London, he taught at the School of Management, Royal Holloway, London, while pursuing doctoral research in business strategy and environmental management, specializing in the international timber trade. That academic backbone, rigor, systems thinking, sustainability, bleeds into his food writing. No fluff, just evidence. The core series, the Macronutrients Trilogy, Volume 1 on carbohydrates, glucose, fiber, metabolism, Volume 2 on lipids, fats, omega-3s, inflammation, Volume 3 on proteins, repair, enzymes, muscle. Then micronutrients, water, and anti-nutrients, the plant world's double-edged sword. Anti-nutrients are naturally occurring compounds in whole foods, phytates, oxalates, lectins, goitrogens, that can bind minerals, block enzymes, or mess with absorption. They evolved as plant defenses, but in us, they steal iron from spinach, calcium from kale, or spike gut irritation from raw beans. Variety wins. 30 plants a week, not monodiets. Raw's romantic, but cooked smarter. Add spice blends like AZLAN's 5-Powder Manifesto, turmeric mixes for real anti-inflammation, and you've got a library that says, eat wide, not weird. Why release it all into the public domain? Because knowledge isn't currency. It's oxygen. AZLAN watched corporations gatekeep health, paywalls on papers, patented supplements, proprietary blends that hide what works. He refuses. His books aren't for sale. They're for spread. No DRM, no ads, no ego. Just files anyone can download, print, share. He says it plain. If one person in a kampong swaps white rice for brown or steams kailan instead of boiling it, that's the win, not royalties. He's no gatekeeper. His Facebook, AZLAN Green Party, Instagram, and YouTube drop bite-sized truths. Traffic light WFPB guides, eye health talks on lutein, vegan journeys. He credits tradition, curries, forest mushrooms, seaweed from tides, and lives it. Unpeeled carrots, home ferments, no moralizing. 30-plus titles aren't about volume. They're depth. Carbs to phytonutrients, water to gut bugs. AZLAN doesn't sell health. He hands you the tools. Read him and your plate changes. Not because you're broken, because you're built for better.
button to show your support. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel to show your support.